Hey, we're talking here today with Mance Harmon. He's the CEO and co-founder of Hedera Hashgraph, which is a distributed app platform, and probably a lot more than that too. You delivered the keynote here at Crypto Invest Summit this morning. How was that?
Oh, it was great. It was a packed house. It's fun to be on stage and tell the story of what we have. And this was just another opportunity to see the faces of the people in the crowd come alive when they realize what we have and what we're introducing to the market.
All right, that's my next question. What are you introducing to the market?
Well, so Hashgraph is an alternative consensus algorithm, alternative to proof of work blockchain and other consensus algorithms in the market today. It has fantastic properties, both in terms of security and performance. What we are now introducing to the market is a public network built on the Hashgraph consensus algorithm. That's Hedera Hashgraph. That's the name of the organization that's bringing this to market. And Hedera Hashgraph is both bringing a fantastic capability that is best in class in terms of performance and security, and at the same time, a governance council that is the most decentralized, inclusive governance council of any of the public networks in the market today. It's made up of 39 world-class organizations that represent 18 sectors of business in all the major markets around the planet.
Can I ask you why a distributed platform like that requires a governance council at all?
Oh yeah, well, absolutely. The question is, who do you want making decisions about the operations, the business operations and product roadmap of the platform itself? In many cases today, maybe there's some core developers that are making those decisions, miners influence those decisions, maybe there's a foundation with half a dozen members that are making those decisions. We wanted a council that was representative of all the major markets, 18 sectors of business that have an interest in use cases on a global distributed ledger. And of course, we didn't want those just to be in the United States or just to be in Europe. So we've gotten council members from all the major markets. And what that means today is we have representation from Australia, from Asia, from the US, from Europe, from India. We're still working on the Middle East and Africa and South America, but we expect to finish the development of this council probably by the end of summer, and then we'll begin announcing who some of those members are. We have commitments now for more than half.
What kind of selection process do you have for choosing who sits on the council?
Well, so we wanted to start with the most trusted brands in the market today. A lot of this has to do with the security of the network, and there's some technical reasons why this council needs to be trusted by mainstream markets. And at the same time, every decision from the ground up has been chosen to ensure that mainstream markets believe that this platform is going to be well managed and represent their interests as mainstream customers, whether it be small and medium businesses or enterprises, with enterprise applications or mission critical applications. So the criteria, frankly, has just been to ensure that we get broad coverage of all those constituencies across industries, across geographies, and then finally across time. The council members are not permanent members. They can serve up to 2 3-year terms consecutively, and then they're out. And another reason for wanting the largest companies in the world is they're going to run nodes in this network. It's a public network, open. Anybody can run a node that wants to, but they will to start. But the money that they're going to make from running those nodes is paltry in comparison to their market caps, which means they're not doing this for the financial motivation, right? They're doing this because they see an opportunity to be part of the governance, even temporarily, stewards of the governance of the next generation of the internet. And if we went with smaller companies or individuals or charities, then there's an opportunity for them to be influenced by the money that they'd be making from running nodes. And we wanted to eliminate that as a possibility. And so those were the criteria. Most trusted brands, largest market cap, geo-distributed, limited by time and how long they can serve.
Okay then, and since we're talking the economics of it, this is an ICO summit here. It's a token summit. Everyone wants to talk about tokens,
Sure.
and Hashgraph does have a token.
Yeah.
My next question was going to be, what utility does that token serve on the network?
Yeah.
And how does it add value to the network when maybe there are other similar services like like ZeroNet, SQL Torrent, or DAT that don't have any token at all?
Yeah.
Like what purpose does that serve?
Yeah. Well, there are a couple of different categories. Number one, the token is needed to provide the security for the network. This is a proof of stake system. And what that means is that instead of one computer, one vote, like it would be in a permission network, you can't do that because one bad actor could stand up 1,000 computers and overwhelm the voting on the transaction order. So to replace that, we use the cryptocurrency, one coin, one vote. And that makes it such that you have to in order to overwhelm the network, you have to get a corner on the market. In other words, very specifically, if one bad actor has a third or more of the tokens in the currency, then they can prevent the network from coming to consensus. And so to prevent that, initially, this Council of 39 will hold 2/3 of the tokens. Mm-hmm. And by doing so, it's not possible for a bad actor or a group of bad actors to prevent the network from coming to consensus. Now, as the value of the token increases and the distribution of the token becomes very broad, then there will come a moment in time where it's practically not possible for one actor or even a small group to own 1/3 of the tokens. It's just too expensive, too impractical. At that point, Hedera, as an organization, will go ahead and sell down its tokens. It will no longer hold 2/3 of the tokens, and it will be, those tokens will be floated into the market. So it's needed for the security of the network to start. That's number one. But then number two, when developers build applications on the platform, they make API calls to use the services of the platform. The first three services are cryptocurrency as a service, distributed file storage, and then smart contracts. Every API call that gets made by one of those applications is accompanied with a micropayment of the platform token for the use of those APIs at that moment in time. And so that micropayment then gets split into two parts. One part gets paid out to all of the nodes in the network that are helping to process those API calls. Anybody that wants to run a node can do so and be compensated for their contribution in this way. And then the other part of that micropayment goes to fund the operations of Hedera, the organization. So the token is a utility token by definition. It's used for payment for the use of the platform services, and it's required to provide the security of the platform fundamentally.
And I think one big feature that you have that differentiates you from a lot of other projects is you are not intending to do an ICO for this token. Is that right?
It's not likely that we will do a retail ICO in the sort of the traditional sense. We are domiciled in the United States. Of course, we're doing everything we can to live within the constraints and the spirit of those constraints as it relates to the SEC and regulatory bodies that have a concern. We will be doing an institutional round and an accredited crowdsourcing round. And at the same time, importantly, we have an expectation that we'll be able to provide the opportunity for the developer community that wants to help us test our network to do so and be compensated for that contribution with platform tokens. So even though we can't do an airdrop, our goal is to provide tools to the developer community that they then use, and for their services to us, we'll compensate them in tokens.
Okay, and what stage is the project at now?
Yeah, so the first three services, cryptocurrency with support for micropayments, distributed file storage, and smart contracts, we expect that to be feature complete in the middle of May, a couple of weeks from now. We have customers, beta partners, ready to go. They're ready to begin development by the end of May, building their applications on top of the platform. We will harden the platform through the summer and into the fall and gradually open the platform up to more and more developers in the community. The target is to be generally available, version 1.0, by the end of the year. In terms of the council, we have half of the 39 committed to date, and we're working with them now on the specific governance terms that ensure that no single organization has more control than any other organization. All of those policies that will help us manage ourselves, and we'll be making announcements about who some of those are probably by the end of the summer.
Oh, awesome. And where can people find out more about that if they want to?
So if you go to hashgraph.com, there is a white paper that we published a month ago that contains everything I just described and a lot more, along with performance results for the Hashgraph algorithm, and in enough detail there that anybody that wants to replicate those tests can do so, and there's an SDK that they can download that makes it possible for them to actually do those same performance results.
Okay, thank you very much for talking to us today.
Thank you so much for having me.